Hola clase, Senor Boyle here, and let's do three things. First, why don't you grab a little scrap piece of paper and don't look at any notes. I'm just going to have you draw a couple of charts, see if you can remember these two words. If you have to hit pause right now, real quick, do that. Grab a scrap sheet of paper and a pencil. Do it. Okay, you got your pencil, you got your scrap sheet of paper. All right, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to draw this chart, Dacier. Take a minute, pause the video. I'm trying to clean my glasses and they're getting dirtier. That's not good. Anyway, I don't know what's going on with that. Pause the video, draw this chart, fill it out, and translate the word decir into English. And then push play. All right, now this is just a remembering activity, right? Obviously, you're doing it on a scrap piece of paper, just trying to see if you remember what you learned. And here it is. So the stem, whoopsie, the stem is DIJ for all of them. And do you remember that there are no accent marks for any of these? That's a nice thing, right? So this is the irregular stem, and then we have irregular endings. And so in the yo form, it's tú is iste, ele usted is o, nosotros, imos, vosotros, istes, ellos es ustedes, eron. Dije, dijiste, dijo, dijimos, dijisteis, dijeron. And remember that this word means to say or tell. All right, we're going to talk about your sentences in a minute, but you probably used some of these. All right, I'd like you to take a scrap sheet of paper, flip it over, and write this chart. I'd like you to write the forms in the preterite for traer, translate traer, hit pause, write that out, and then push play again. Okay, traer, remember, is a similar stem. It's got a J in it, and the endings are all the same, and there are no accent marks. Traje, trajiste, trajo, trajimos, trajisteis, trajeron. Traer means to bring. So I brought, you brought, he brought, and so forth. Okay, hey, remember these sentences? These are the ones you did for homework. I gave this to you on Wednesday. I also assigned to you something to say in Google Classroom to prove that you did this. So guess what? If you don't do all the things I say, I don't know how to give you credit because you're taking notes and you're not turning anything into me when we do stuff like this. I'm just trusting that you're doing the notes. And if you do the notes and then you say the favorite fruit or whatever it was on Google Classroom, I know that you did it. I'm looking at, I know who you are and I know that kind of stuff. So anyway, let's talk about this. She told me the truth. I told you this already. It's ella me dijo la verdad. And this is she, right? Told. Now, the person she told it to has to go before the verb. In English, remember, it's after the verb. Remember that we talked about this. This is a subject, this is a verb, and this is an object. S V O. English is an SVO language. Subject, verb, object. Spanish is an SOV language. It's different. Okay, and then we have another object over here. All right, anyway, number 2. I said that we need to leave now. So I said is yo dije. And the word that is que. So yo dije que, I said that. And then we need to leave is just a little 2 verbs in a row. Remember that we just conjugate the first verb, necesitamos. It's nosotros. And then the verb to leave is in the infinitive. Salir, ahora is now. Number 3, you didn't tell me. All right, somebody's doing something to someone. I'm the subject. I'm doing a verb, or not doing a verb in this case, to me. So it's happening to me. So remember, English is subject, verb, object. Spanish is subject, object, verb. So we're going to say, tú no me dijiste. I don't have to say tú here. I could. It's implied, but no me dijiste is you didn't tell me. Hey, number 4, the waiter. Oh, what the heck? There's no. Anyway, sorry, the program didn't work. I'm not going to go back and fix it. The waiter brought the food to us. All right, now the waiter is the subject. He did this action, brought, and the to us is the object that he brought it to. Actually, the food is also an object, but the to us is the one that we're going to put in the pronoun form. So, el camarero is a subject, and to us is who he did it to. Trajo is brought, and the thing he brought is la comida. So, this has to go before the verb, this pronoun. Hey, number 5, did your friends bring their Xbox? Well, this is a question, right? Now, in English, to make a question, we start with did or do, and then we have subject, verb. Verb is in the present, even though it's a past tense question, because the question word is in the past tense. That's weird, right? Ever think about that? If you just get rid of the word did, your friends bring their Xbox, period. That sounds like a statement in the present tense, right? Your friends bring their Xbox, like all the time. But if we want to make it a past tense question, we could say, did your friends bring? Or we could say, your friends brought their Xbox? We could say that without a did, but we have to put this in the brought form. Interesting, right? Okay, so if it's a question in Spanish, the verb goes first, the subject goes second, like this. Verb goes first, trajeron. The subject goes second, tus amigos, su Xbox. If we were to make this a statement in Spanish, your friends brought their Xbox, then we would say, tus amigos trajeron su Xbox. But because it's a question, the subject of the question, of the verb, trajeron, this person has to go after the verb, okay? Hey, number 6. Oh, shoot, I forgot the program in this one too. We brought our things with us. All right, so it's pretty straight up. Trajimos is we brought. Our things, our is nuestras, because cosas is feminine plural. And so nuestras has to be feminine plural. And then with us, in Spanish, you wouldn't say con nos, you would say con nosotros. Okay? Hey, here's what I'd like to do. Now, we went over the sentence. Well, we did a listening activity. No, I'm sorry, not a listening activity. We did a little warm up. The second thing we did was went over the sentences. I want to give you a little bit of notes, just a tiny bit of notes, okay? So you have your notes right there, your blue pack. Let's do this. We just have 4 verbs. The rules for these 4 verbs are very similar. They all have one thing in common, and it's a little bit special, okay? So we're going to learn these 4 verbs, and it's in the preterite, right? So creer, leer, oír, caerse. Let's do it. Here's 2 things to remember. You're taking notes, right? You have your blue pack, you're taking these notes. The 2 things to remember is that there's an accent mark on the I. Now, normally that doesn't happen all the time. It only happens certain times. But in this case, it's going to happen more often, and you'll see when. Okay, so there are accent marks on the letter I. The second thing is, in the third person, singular and plural, I is going to change to Y. We'll see that happen. So we have creer. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop the ending, just like we would with a normal verb. And now we're going to add preterite endings, the ones that we know for ER verbs. And remember, the 2 special things we're going to do is we're going to put accent marks on I's, And down here on the bottom, we're going to make I a Y. So here it goes. Creí. Now, this always has an accent mark, right? Already we know that this has an accent in all forms in the preterite. But the to form normally does not have an accent mark, right? Just iste doesn't need one. But in this case, we have to have one. Creíste. And then in the third person, we're going to put, instead of yo, we're going to say yo. And this basically shortens this word into 2 syllables. Instead of saying creyó, it's creyó. And that's why we do that Y-O accent. 2 syllables. Nosotros creímos. We normally don't have an accent mark here, but we do now. Vosotros creísteis. We normally don't have one, but we do have an accent mark on the I. And then lastly, we don't have an accent mark on creyeron, but we're just going to spell it with a Y. Creyeron. So creer is to believe or to think. So creí, creíste, creyó. Ready? Creí, creíste, creyó, creímos, creísteis, creyeron. I thought, you thought, I believed, you believed, and so on and so forth. Okay, leer. We're going to follow those same 2 rules. So we have the stem. Le. Now we're going to put endings on, and the endings are the ones you think that we should put on, which are the ones we just used. So we have leí, leíste, accent marks on leí and leíste. Leyó, Y-O accent. Leímos, leísteis, and leyeron. Obviously, leer is to read. So, leí, I read. Leíste, you read. Leyó, he read, she read, usted read, and so on and so forth. Oír. This is the verb to hear. And we have an accent mark in the infinitive form. That's interesting. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with an O because we dropped the ending. We're just left with an O. And we're going to use those same endings with accent marks on I's. Oí, oíste, oyó, oímos, oísteis, oyeron. I heard, you heard, he heard, she heard, we heard, y'all heard, they heard. Ustedes heard. All right. Not number, but last one. All right, now remember, this is a reflexive verb. Caerse is to fall, but it has an SE. What are we going to do? When we say a reflexive verb, the first thing we do is we have to deal with say. The reason why we deal with that first is because that's the first thing we write or say when we're using this verb. So what does say turn into in the yo form? Well, it turns into may. What does say turn into in the tu form? Te. What does say turn into? Remember, it's a reflexive verb. What is say going to do in the la usted form? If you're thinking it's going to be lay, you're thinking of crazy verbs like gustar. It's say because this is a reflexive verb. Nosotros, it's going to turn into nos. In the vosotros form, say is going to turn into os. And in the ellos, ellas, ustedes form, say is going to remain say. Hey, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to drop the ending on all forms. And then we're going to add our endings, and we already know the endings. They're the same endings. We have I, iste, yo, imos, istes, yeron. Once again, accent marks on the I up on the top section, Y-O or Y-E-R-O-N, the bottom section. Me caí, I fell. Te caíste, you fell. Se cayó, he fell, she fell, usted fell. Nos caímos, we fell. Os caístes. Y'all fell. Se cayeron, they fell. Ustedes fell. Okay, we have some questions. My mom read the book to me. Okay, we have the verb to read. Mom did it. Who did she do this to? To me. Remember, this has to come before the verb. Let's see here. They didn't believe it. Let me give you a hint about number 4. It is the word lo, L-O. It's going to go before the word to believe. Okay? And this is going to be tough. I'm going to just ask you to guess on this. See what you come up with, okay? And let's see, we have to him. That's a tricky one. And, well, that one's not too bad. Hey, do these 6 sentences for homework. And I really appreciate your work, okay? Have an awesome day.